Did you know that, well, the challenges of getting artificial intelligence into healthcare education, they're actually quite similar to the ones we faced with evidence-based medicine. Kind of surprising, right?
It really is, yeah.
Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling a really interesting article.
hmm
It's called Artificial Intelligence Education, an evidence-based medicine approach for consumers, translators, and developers.
Right. It was published in Science Direct by Elsevier back on October 17th, 2023.
And our mission today really is to get a handle on the core AI curriculum they're proposing for healthcare pros.
And how it, adapts to different people, different levels of know-how.
Exactly. So the first big problem they point out.
It's the training gap, isn't it? So much AI is coming into healthcare, but many professionals, current and future ones, they just haven't had the training to use it effectively. There's a real lack of skills there.
Yeah, precisely. And the article offers, I think, a pretty smart solution for this, categorizing the professionals based on how they actually interact with the AI.
Ah, right. The consumers, translators, and developers.
Exactly. So consumers are the folks directly using the AI tools day to day.
Like clinicians using diagnostic software.
Right. Then you've got translators.
Yeah.
They're the crucial link, sort of bridging the gap between the tech side, the developers, and the actual clinical users.
Okay, that makes sense. They help make it usable, basically.
You got it. And finally, the developers, they're the ones actually building these AI systems.
So the idea is tailor the education. Because what a surgeon using an AI-assisted robot needs to know
Totally different, yeah.
is worlds apart from what the data scientist building the algorithm needs.
That distinction seems critical for making the education, relevant and not just a data bite.
Absolutely. Focused education. But that brings up the next hurdle.
How do you actually fit this into medical training? The schedules are already bursting at the seams.
It's a huge challenge. Adding more stuff, where does it go?
It's a fair question. And that's where the article makes this really interesting connection.
To evidence-based medicine, or EBM.
Yes. They draw this parallel. For anyone maybe less familiar, EBM is all about using the best current research evidence when making decisions about patient care.
And when EBM was rolling out, people asked the same things. How do we teach this? How do we fit it in? Faculty training, all that.
Yeah.
And the article basically says, look, the lessons we learned integrating EBM, they can really guide us with AI education.
So things like curriculum design, getting faculty up to speed, how you assess learning.
Precisely. Those strategies can be adapted.
Yeah.
And the core curriculum they propose specifically highlights these links between AI and EBM.
Because ultimately both are about using data and evidence to make better healthcare decisions, right?
Exactly. It's about informed decision-making powered by data or research.
Now, the article doesn't ignore the difficulties. It's quite realistic about the barriers.
Yeah, it mentions things like, well, just finding the time in the curriculum. That's number one.
And resources. You need money, tech, expertise to build good AI training modules.
True. Plus, you'll have different levels of interest. Some educators and students will be super keen, others maybe less so.
That variability is definitely a factor. And then there's the whole issue of making sure the knowledge actually sticks.
Knowledge retention, yeah. Especially with AI changing so fast, how do you keep the learning current and ensure people can apply it long term?
These are significant hurdles, no doubt.
They are, but on the flip side, the potential payoff is huge.
How so?
Well, if you improve AI literacy across the board and you specifically foster more of these translators and developers within healthcare,
Creating that internal capacity.
right, you can really accelerate how quickly beneficial AI innovations get developed and adopted. It helps patients, it helps practitioners, it speeds everything up in a good way.
So the big picture, the main takeaway here is, just like EBM changed how we educated healthcare professionals, we need a similar, thought-out, structured approach for AI.
And one that's tailored, using those different roles, consumer, translator, developer, and learning from how we integrated EBM. That experience is key.
Absolutely. And, if you found this discussion about integrating new knowledge and skills into healthcare interesting,
You might want to check out our previous deep dive.
yeah, we look at an article called When Should You Combine AI and Humans? It touches on related themes about practical AI application.
Definitely worth a listen.
Yeah.
And it leaves us with a final thought to maybe mull over.
Okay.
As AI keeps advancing so rapidly in medicine, how will these roles, the consumer, the translator, the developer, how will they themselves need to change? And how do they need to work together even more closely to make sure AI is used ethically and effectively for everyone?
That's a great question. How collaboration itself needs to evolve. Something to think about.